All right. How's everybody doing? It's been a very busy, very hectic last 6 months. Moving into my new job and just everything going on. But I've been able to find a good amount of time in my nights and weekends since the beginning of the new year to work on version 2 of the framework. And it's gone really well. The amount of time that I spent working with other engineers and planning and testing and figuring out exactly how I wanted this tool to work seems to be paying off, which is great. The development is going a lot quicker than I expected. I'm super pumped about that. I've been able to get a demo version of the tool working that is what I wanted to have done for DEF CON. And I've been able to get it done on, what is today now, March 6th. So pretty excited about that. I've got a lot of other things that I want to try to add into, but I think I may be able to have a pretty polished beta version of this V2 of the framework ready to release at DEF CON. I'm going to certainly submit a call for papers to hopefully do a talk on it, whether that's in the Bug Bounty Village. Hopefully they're doing that again, or maybe in the AppSec Village or anywhere else, but that is my plan. So anyway, I wanted to go ahead and show a quick demo here today, show how to get it set up. I've already got an entire scan run on the Grammarly Bug Bounty program, so we're going to walk through and see what those results look like, and then we'll take a step back. We're going to delete everything, and I'll show you what it looks like to install it. Everything is fully Dockerized. It's a collection of Docker containers, and there's a Docker Compose manifest as part of it, right? So you just run you run the Docker containers however you want. It works great on Windows. That's what I'm running today, Windows 11. But anything you can do, it's set up to work on an M1 chip as well. I've got it working on a Mac over here too. So yeah, I mean, it's a demo version, right? It's not even an alpha yet. So, be that what it is, there's going to be a lot of bugs and everything, but it's at the point now where I've been able to use it for bug bounty hunting. And so I wanted to release it and have everybody else go and try it. If you want, go ahead and give feedback, and I'll show you how you can do that a little later in here. But yeah, so let's go ahead and flip the screens here, and I can show you what it looks like. Again, totally refactored, so the backend is now in Go. We've got great multi-threading functionality with Go routines coming through that, so I'm really glad I made that change. Other big change, no more MongoDB. We're now using Postgres database. We're not gonna have those installation issues with the processor. We're not gonna have the performance issues once the size of those FQDN objects get way too big. So there's just a ton of stuff a ton of improvements that have gone into this. So, okay, so looking at the tool itself, I wanna be really clear about the purpose of this tool, because it was kind of ambiguous when I went and did version 1. I have a really clear purpose, a really clear vision for this tool. And I know when I did V1, everybody wanted to pull it in a different direction, having it meet the use case that they wanted to do. So this tool is designed to meet a very specific purpose. It is designed to be the tool that a beginner can pick up and start bug bounty hunting today and be able to compete with somebody that has been bug bounty hunting for many years. And the way that I'm doing that is it eliminates the friction to start, because you have all of the automated tools and everything set up in this framework, and you also have all of these help me learn sections. So as you're going through, these workflows are built out to represent the methodology itself. In order to use the tool, you're forced to go through a very well-established bug bounty hunting methodology. I've built my own methodology into this tool. There's no way to use it otherwise. So just by the very nature of using this tool and going through the steps, it teaches you that methodology, right? You go through, and first we're going to do AMAS, and we're going to start to gather some information. Then we're going to do subdomain scraping. We're going to consolidate and find live web servers. We're going to do brute forcing and use those live web servers to use CEWL to crawl for a more dynamic word list. We're going to consolidate again, and we need a new set of live web servers because we're going to run GhostSpider and Subdomainizer, which crawl for any additional subdomains that might be in there. So the more live web URLs that we can crawl, the more results we're going to get, right? So it's a systematic, methodical process to building up your attack surface, identifying all of the possible attack vectors, web applications, et cetera, within this root level domain that we have decided to target right here. Right, goes down, and ultimately the goal is to get down to where you have gathered a lot of information about these URLs, and we're going to use that information to determine which target has the greatest return on investment, the greatest ROI for us as a bug bounty hunter. And this is something that I think is going to be one of the greatest values of this tool, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build in my years and years of bug bounty hunting experience into an algorithm that will pull all of that metadata of your targets out. And based on the information that's found, it will tell you which one of these targets are worth your time. Because that is one of the hardest decisions, one of the hardest decision points or transitions for a beginner in bug bounty hunting to make. They don't have the experience to know when they look at an application what signs and what metrics show that there could be a great chance that there's more vulnerabilities there. That's just a muscle that you build up over time. So if you really want to boil down the value of this tool, my hope is that, first of all, beginners can pick it up, start bug bounty hunting today, and they can start learning at the same time. But also, you're going to be able to compete with the people that have been doing this for so long, because you're going to have all of that knowledge and information built into the algorithms in a very simple report that can show you what that is. You know, here we have one that's a very high return on investment. It's got account internal listed here, but we're getting a 200 response code, right? So it looks like we're accessing this. We can get a ton of information in here. We can see the response header. So it's obviously coming from a CloudFront instance. It's running, it's probably just a React front end or something. We can get a little picture here. But this is one that appears to be a great target. We have 350 different crawled results on an account internal. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, that's where we're looking to get. The wildcard workflow is the only one that I've built out right now. So we come in to add another scope target, and I can just show you here. So the company and the URL has not been done yet. So if we wanted to go to Google and add that, you can see we can go over there and it'll just have a nice message saying it's coming soon. We haven't gotten a chance to, I haven't, I'm doing all the coding myself, but I haven't gotten a chance to do that. So the wildcard, again, anytime you have a scope target like this within a bug bounty program, you can just copy it into here and then you're gonna go through and run with it. So you also have these help me learn sections. I don't remember if I mentioned this or not. This is super rough, by the way. I didn't plan this out. I just hit record and said, we'll go with it because I wanted to share it out with the community. And I don't have a ton of time right now, but in addition to being forced to actually use the methodology just by the nature of the way the tool works, I'm also building in my full bug bounty hunting methodology in every step. So if you don't know where to start, if you don't know where you're at or what you need to do, you can expand these help me learn sections and they can walk you through these different things. So it gives you basic FAQ style, you know, what are we doing? Why are we here? And every single one of these is gonna have a learn more. Now, nothing is happening yet, but very soon, clicking this learn more is gonna open up a modal that is going to be a short lesson associated with this individual point. And this is where my YouTube videos are gonna come back into place. Why I haven't been making YouTube videos recently, partially because transition to the new job, but also because I need to complete this tool because they're gonna be the delivery method for the YouTube videos. The purpose of the YouTube videos, even it's great to have them on YouTube and people enjoy them, but the purpose has always been to just use YouTube as a free educational platform and a delivery system essentially for this education. I have no interest in becoming a YouTuber. I think I've been very clear on that, but if anybody's not clear, I'm not a YouTuber. I have a full-time job. I have a family. I want to contribute to the cybersecurity community, and I believe that YouTube is a platform to do that. So that's why I'm there. Anyway, so I want learning to be a huge component of this. I have no interest whatsoever if anybody wants to, if they're already making a ton of money and successful with bug bounties and you want to use this to make more money, you're not my target customer. I'm gonna be very clear about that. You are not my target user. More power to you. I'm gonna have an open API on the back end with documentation and everything so you can go and build your own scripts with it. More power to you. Keep crushing it. The people that I'm building this tool for are beginners, people that want to learn bug bounties, people that want to get a career in application security. I want to support their development. I want to support their journey into that. So with that being said, I'll walk through a few things here. So anything you do to scan, you just click the scan button, it'll go. This won't take a while, so I don't want to start it yet, but just to show real quick, right? We can do like this, switch over, go grab the certificate transparency logs, and we should see in just a minute here, it'll pop back up and say if it found anything. Now I probably shouldn't have picked CTL because it does have a tendency to return a 502 error occasionally. Actually, let's just see because it's taking a little longer than I would think. Oh no, looks like it's okay there. All right, so you can see in the Docker logs, everything is coming back. It just needs to catch up there in a second, but that'll be fine. In the meantime, let's come down here. So I have a lot of modals that you can open up to see the results of these as well. So the scan history, right? When did I run the scan? What were the results? How much time did it take? It's very important there. You can see the raw results of the AMAS, right? So this is what you would just see in the standard output in a nice little list. And then I do a lot of processing and everything with it. And one of the main ways that I like to process and present this AMAS data is with the infrastructure button right here. And what this does is it does its best to go through and identify the ASNs and the subsequent, net blocks that are under there, and then what IP addresses and FQDNs and all that are associated with those net blocks. So you can start to see very quickly and map out. This was in the original version as well, if anybody used it, but you can start to map out what their infrastructure looks like. We can see they have a lot in AWS. Here's a little bit in Google. And then here's some that it had trouble mapping out. And you can also click on these to kind of go open them in a new tab and check them out there. Yeah, so I get a lot of value out of that one. DNS records, I love checking DNS records. So this test for subdomain takeover doesn't work yet, but it is gonna work. It will only work on CNAMEs. If you understand subdomain takeover, you probably know why, or it only is a strong word, but for the most part, it's gonna target that. But yeah, this doesn't do anything yet. Oh, this doesn't alert, I forgot I built that in, that's funny. But we do have a nice little filtering here if you wanna go through, right? So like typically, I just want to see all the A records. Very easy to see that. So yeah, you can use those. Just the general subdomains, if you just want to have those, right? So it pulls the subdomains, cloud domains, results, DNS records, etc. So we just have those. Cloud domains as well, right? I love looking for AWS cloud domains. Now this is almost entirely Route 53, but I always like to come in and see. I'm surprised we're not picking up more of those CloudFront instances, the PTR records that I was getting in the metadata thing. There may be some inconsistencies there, but again, I want to be very clear. This tool is not even an alpha. So it's, yeah, I need you to bear with me while I finish coding it in my nights and weekends in between the million other things that I'm trying to do. Okay, so yeah, so CTL's failed there. Let's try it again. This one does tend to have some issues because all it's doing is making a GET request to an existing endpoint that does this, and the endpoint just tends to get hammered. So that one you need to probably run a couple times to get it to catch, get all URLs in sublister at times. There you go. Now it found it there. You can see the results here. So yeah, they all work differently, right? My tool is just a wrapper. It's just a wrapper around a bunch of existing open source tools, right? So like my tool can only be as good as the tools it's using. I can't go in and solve those. Well, I mean, all these tools are great, right? But they're built for a specific purpose, and I'm trying to orchestrate and consolidate everything in there. So please just have the right expectations with that. Subdomain scraping, right? This is the next step here. These are probably the most viable. We just run through and hit scan real quick. These are very quick. Once this is done, I'm going to show on another domain the quick scan that I do with these when I want to just get some data and start hunting quickly. So those are really good there. Then we come down into, like I said, the consolidate and discover live subdomains. So you click this consolidate button. There you go. Found a couple more. So CTL found a couple more there. And this is pretty consistent, right? You're going to keep running these scans. You're going to keep consolidating, keep running the HTTPX scan, which is going to go, HTTPX reaches out and finds out which one of these are live web servers, what status code is it getting, what technologies does it use. Just a great Golang tool to gather some basic meta information about that. So this will take just a couple minutes here. Where's the thing? We can kind of watch it go. Yeah, so you can see here where it ran the HTTPX there. We're getting some other backend logs, but it won't take us very long to get some more information in there. Once that's done, that'll be here in a minute, we're gonna move on to our brute forcing. So brute forcing, we're gonna brute force subdomains. Shuffle DNS, that's mass DNS, and then it's doing some other things on top of that. This is just gonna do a basic word list. This is a hard-coded word list. It's my own word list that I've always used, and it's been fairly successful for me. Feel free to add your own if you want, but this is a hard-coded word list. The CEWL brute force scan over here. So CEWL is a tool that reaches out to live web servers and it crawls their DOM and it identifies words that are used a lot and it builds a word list based on that. And so I take those dynamic word lists, I reach out to every live web server that's been discovered, and then we crawl those, we combine that into a consolidated word list. There's your HTTPX scan that's done. And then it will then take that dynamic word list, pass it off to Shuffle DNS and let Shuffle DNS brute force with that. So we can potentially find some other, this is all Jason Haddock's methodology, by the way. I'm not doing anything revolutionary here. This is all stuff, I'm just automating stuff that exists. I didn't come up with this technique. I'm not that smart. It just is what it is. If you go and watch Jason Haddock's methodology, like version 4 methodology, it's basically the exact same thing. I'm just automating it. My goal is just to make starting bug bounties as easy as possible. That is my goal. That's my purpose with this tool. Anyway, I digress. So you'll go through this round. You're going to end up with some more subdomains. Once again, we're going to consolidate. And we're going to get the live web servers again, because like I said, we need an updated list of live web servers so that GhostSpider and Subdomainizer can go and crawl those and find their list of subdomains as well. At that point, you're going to go through the final round for now, round 3, and you'll find yourself jumping back and forth with this. So basically every time I run any scan, I usually consolidate and do an HTTPX. But once that's done, you have your final count of live web servers. You can see the recon results, right? We had success from everything. We've got some good times. AMAS took a little while, but most of them were pretty quick. Ghost Spider took a while as well. So then what you need to do, so on a new one, you're not going to see this view screenshots, this view metadata, and the ROI report are all going to be grayed out. They're all going to be disabled because you got to take the screenshots and gather the metadata first. So you'll click take the screenshots, and then you're going to end up with something like this. Like really simple, here's the domain, or the URL, sorry, and you can click on it to open it up. You've got the status code. And then you've got these previews of the screenshots here. So you can see very quickly what are the patterns, like we can see here's a login stuff. But if you want to get a better picture, just click that and it'll open it up, right? Real nice, styled, smooth, React. And you can get to see, so you can start to get an idea of what targets are going to be good here, right? Like this one looks super interesting. This one looks super interesting, again, because of the account on there. Here's another one. Yeah, I want to know how I can test these. So then you're going to go and do the gather metadata scan. And that, once that's done, will give you this metadata results. The metadata scan is going to take a long time, especially if you have a lot of crawling. I mean, it can take up 3-4 hours. It just depends on how many results you have, how many endpoints they're going to find, etc. But expect this to take a little time. It's going to be the last thing that you need to do. So I typically will collect everything and then I'll let it run overnight. By the way, there's going to be buttons at the top eventually that will automate all this. I was originally going to do some different modes, but I don't want to do that. So there's going to be an option to like do a full scan and some different things. Like, do we want to, I know like one thing I want to do is a YOLO scan where it just scans everything at the same time and just sees what works and what doesn't. There's going to be a quick scan, full scan, high resources, low resources, etc. So similar to Burp Suite, right? We want to have different types of scans for different use cases. Anyway, I digress. So going back to the metadata scan, I'll see if I remember everything that it does here. So it scans each one with multiple different tools. It uses Project Discovery's Katana to go through and do a very simple crawl to try to identify how easy it is to crawl the app itself. It uses FFUF to fuzz for a small word list of possible endpoints there and sees how many it finds there. We're not looking for all of them. We're not looking for coverage. We're looking to see the return on investment. We're looking to see how easy it is to crawl, how easy it is to fuzz. Is there, it uses nuclei to gather technology data and check for SSL scans, right? Does it have depreciated TLS? Does it have a mismatched or a expired SSL cert, something like that? All of these are going to affect that ROI score because it shows you whether or not this tool is, or this application is actively being maintained, So anyway, we open this up. We've got a ton of information on it, right? You got all your DNS records here. A lot of this stuff is in the meta or the ROI report as well, but there's more verbose information in the metadata results than there is in the ROI report. But yeah, you can see all that here. We've identified a content security policy, but report only. I can guarantee you that, not guarantee you, I tell you, I wrote the algorithm that went into the scoring as well. Right, we've got a ton of different results from Katana, although it's mostly, well, we got some stuff there, so we'll have to see, and that's actually kind of interesting. So yeah, that's good too. So we got some 403s, so clearly something they don't want us to access. I might try and bypass that with 403 bypass, right? So I'm getting an idea of how I want to test. And as I said, ultimately, all of this goes into, I want to say everything it does, right? It does FFUF, I think there's some more stuff too. It does some like GET request, and it uses Project Discovery's HTTP raw package to go and gather a lot of information about the DNS records and the request itself, everything. But yeah, like I said, once that's done, you're going to end up with this ROI report. And these are the ones, so I would go and gather probably the top 5 here. Yeah, I mean, they line up to what I would expect to do. Maybe not this one. I don't really know what this is, but yeah, and you can move on to the next step. Now, eventually, we're going to have another button down here, and you're going to click that to add a target URL to scope, because the goal is you want to find one or a few of these to be your target URL, and then you're going to move, I'm going to make this much more seamless in the future, but you're going to move from the wildcard target to the URL target. So this is kind of a cascade. So if you have a wide open program like Tesla or Department of Defense or anything, you can start with the company, and then you work your way down to the wildcard, work your way down to the URL, but you're also going to have opportunities at each of these to find vulnerabilities. Although for the wildcard right now, that doesn't exist, but I've got some ideas on how to do that. So we can add that into a new URL, and then this is where we would pick up here again and start testing for individual attack vectors. The goal of the URL is going to be to actually find and submit reports, right? You're going through and doing a lot of manual testing. You're running some CVE scans on it, things like that. I just get to the point where I can create it. So I think that's everything I wanted to show here, right? This one outputs how many days it's been since your last scan, because, you know, the older it is, the more stale this data is, and you probably want to increase it. So that's the data that I wanted to gather there. Yeah, I think that's just about everything. Let me pop this over here real quick. So the repo, right? If you just come to my GitHub here, you've got, there you go, Ars0n Framework v2 is right there pinned to the top. I don't have any information on the setup right now because again, it's Docker container. So if you're running it on Windows, let's do this. Let's open this up. Let's go ahead and stop these. And we'll kind of see it happening over here as well, right, in the Docker desktop. And one more should be good there. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and delete all of the code there. And I'm going to open this up. I'm going to delete all of our Docker container builds. I'm also going to delete the images here. And I'm going to keep the volumes though. I want to keep my data there, right? So for this Postgres data right here, this is the actual data in your database. I could delete this. This is just for sharing. It's like an EFS in AWS essentially. But I'm going to keep this here so that when we rebuild it, we're not going to lose our data. So let's do that. Come back over here, and I would just HTTPS, we're going to copy. And go ahead and clone the repo. We'll move over. All right, so we got everything in there. So we have our Docker compose file right there. So very simple. We'll go Docker compose up, tac build. You can do the tac-d on there, and that will have it run in the background. I don't recommend that because you're going to have, you know, you can't see the debug data. You got to run the log. I like to just keep it running like this so that I can go back and forth while I'm testing and developing. But in the future, you probably want to run it in the background. So let's go ahead and have this start. It'll pull the database, right? It starts to build them all at the same time. I don't know. This is probably going to take about 5 or 6 minutes. So I don't know if I want to just sit here talking for nothing. I guess I can. I don't know what in the world I'm going to talk about. I've been able to finish the CSSLP certification, which I was really excited about. And then I'm working on the AWS Red Team Expert certification as well. The CSSLP is more of like a governance, you know, it's really about building application security into every layer of the SDLC. So I don't know how much value there's going to be with bug hunting with that, but the AWS Red Team Expert for sure. I've been doing a ton of research into vulnerabilities or misconfigurations that will lead to vulnerabilities specifically around AWS Cognito and API Gateway. I think there's a lot of opportunity in those two areas that haven't been explored yet. They're super complex. And one of the things that I've noticed that's really, really interesting to me, it's a pattern that I'm recognizing as I'm working every day. There seems to be an issue where nobody really knows or nobody really wants to take ownership of these AWS services that are HTTP based, essentially. You know, an API Gateway and AWS Cognito, in my opinion, are the two main examples of that. You have what I see happening over and over again is that when you have vulnerabilities or misconfigurations, or even just finding somebody to take ownership of the security of it, you have this push-pull back and forth between the application security side that says, hey, that's infrastructure, that's AWS, that's not our purview. And then you have people on the infrastructure side that are saying, okay, yes, it's configured through a GUI, but it's also it's all HTTP based. We are implementing a part of the application. We're just implementing it through a GUI, and we don't understand how application authentication works and all of that nuances. And especially with API Gateway, you get some really interesting information or situations where the developers are creating the custom Lambda authenticators. So they're writing that custom code for it, but they don't have a full understanding of the whole workflow of API gateway. And so they may not understand the nuances of how that validation needs to happen before it's passed on to a backend service or anything else that's happening there. So it seems to be a situation where nobody is super excited to take ownership of it. And I always look for things like that. So I'm going to be focusing a lot of my research on the boundaries and the layers between custom written code and cloud services. I've got, like, so I'm doing AWS Red Team Expert. Right after this, I'm going to do a certified AI security practitioner, which is a new one from the DevSecOps Security or something like that. Really great company. They've got a lot of great certs. And then I'm going to do Google Cloud as well, right? So all that stuff, the AI is going to be really helpful for doing bug bounty hunting on LLMs. That's one of the reasons I'm looking at Grammarly right now, is they have a lot of AI integrations and everything. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for cloud pen testing, a lot of opportunity for AI pen testing. So I'm going to be focusing on Grammarly and the AI pen testing and cloud pen testing a lot more in the future. This should be just about done. You can see it's building all the Docker containers and installing everything. It does take a bit of time, but it's not bad considering you're installing all these. And yeah, I don't think it's that bad. Anyway, I'm running out of stuff to talk about now. I don't know. Hopefully this will be done here in a second. Oh yeah, you can see there too. So there's the logic, the run architecture, and we're got dynamic installations that are happening from that. The one issue, not an issue, but something that I need to add code for that I haven't yet. I want this to be able to be used at enterprise organizations as well. And in order to do that, a lot of organizations are going to have a policy in place that will require you to be authenticated to Docker Hub through some type of single sign-on implementation or something like that. And so because this uses so many Docker calls, Docker in Docker, it could be really difficult. Not really difficult, but I have to find a secure way to be able to pass those credentials to the internal Docker files or Docker containers so that they can use them. And it's just, yeah, it's a lot of complexity for a kind of unique use case that I don't want to prioritize, but I want to get there at some point. So I don't know. Now I'm just rambling to try and fill the time here because Nuclei is taking a little bit to set up. But again, it's not that bad. Let's see. Let's come over here. Let's come back over to the app for a minute while it continues building. I'm trying to think if there's anything else because we still have all the DOM loaded here, talks about the word. I don't know what the heck to say. And just hurry up and finish. Come on. All right, it's updating the templates now. If you watch this far into the video, you probably don't care. All right, hurry up. There you go. Exporting layers. That's what we want to get to. That's the last one. Yeah, if you watch this far, hopefully it's helpful. I don't know what I'm doing. Once this finishes, once these layers are exported, this is typically the last section in here. And yeah, I do want to, eventually I'm going to go and write out a Terraform module so that if people want to use this in like a VPC or something in the cloud, definitely want to get that working. One day I would love to possibly have this as like an offering that someone can use, like a cloud version that you can go and sign up for. Obviously there's costs associated with that, and I'm playing around with some different ideas to how you can take care of that, whether you do a pay what you want model, and the hope is that people will pay, quite a bit, and the individuals that can't pay will be supplemented by the ones that are willing to donate more for the value that it's providing. I'm considering a nonprofit to possibly wrap it up in that. And then we go with like a Wikipedia model, where, hey, it works as long as we have the money to do it. And then otherwise we got to raise some money to keep going. Yeah, I don't know, playing around with some different ideas, but I want to make this available to everybody as much as possible. That's my goal. My goal with my career is to make bug bounty hunting as accessible as possible. That's where I want to go. So anyway, we can see now the database is set up, API is set up, we're connected. Remember, we did not delete our database. We just deleted all the containers. So we can restart over here. We still have all of our data. We've rebuilt everything. That's fantastic. And I'll go ahead and add a new scope target, right? So if we do HackerOne.com, and let's just do Grammarly right there. Let's go grab another one of theirs. They've got this really cool subdomain that's specifically designed for their AWS assets right here. This is one of the things that really got me excited about this program. So let's come back over. We're going to do a wildcard. We'll paste that in, right? By the way, I do have like, you know, it won't let you add something that's not in the right format, etc., but that makes it easier. So we'll go over to the AWS. So AMAS is typically going to take between like 30 minutes and 2 hours. Sometimes it takes 2 minutes, which is super weird. I don't know if there's like a caching mechanism or something's happening there, but I'm trying to figure that out. But I'll tell you, I typically skip AMAS unless I'm starting to run it, you know, overnight. To do a quick scan, right? The first thing I do is I hit all these subdomain scraping tools right here. Now I can tell you probably what's going to happen is either CTL, get all URLs, or sublister. Some combination of these three are not going to come back with valid results. That typically happens when you run all 5 at the same time. So just kind of keep that in mind. If it ever comes back with 0 results, that could be that there's just nothing there, right? It just depends. And I do think that'll be the case for a few of these tools here, because I've run this one before, but it could also be that the tool failed. Again, CTL is especially. Asset Finder, Subfinder are very stable. Sublister can be hit or miss depending on rate limiting. CTL, it just all depends. I don't know if CTL actually finds anything for this. I'll try one more time. Sublister, I know, does not. Oh, and by the way, all these have, if you want to know what the tool is actually running, the actual thing links their lists to all of them there. So, but ultimately what I'm looking to do is just get some type of result. And Asset Finder, found a good one here. Subfinder should find some as well. So we'll give Subfinder another, 30 seconds. And if it doesn't finish, I'll just go ahead and use what Asset Finder has here. We'll go ahead and hit consolidate just to build that out. That's interesting. The number of consolidated is less than that. So it filtered some of these out. So some of them must not be, I don't know. I may have to take a look at the logic of that, but okay, we got 1,002 there. So consolidate again. Now we're up to 1,004. So yeah, interesting. So we'll run a quick HTTPX scan. This should give us a set of servers that we can at least start looking at, and then we can go from there. It's going to take a little bit of time to run that there, but yeah, I guess I'll run that. And then I can tell you, I don't know if I need to show all this on the video. Maybe I can just kind of run it and then I'll cut to it, but I'm not going to worry about any of the other tools. I'm going to come down and you can see these are all disabled. Once we have live web servers, I will be able to hit take screenshots, then we'll do gather metadata, and then we'll end with that ROI report. So I think what I'm going to do, and you can see that spinning carries across there. So I'll probably just do a snap cut to where we're there. We'll walk through the results of this one and then probably call it a day. All right, I wanted to hop back in here real quick because I've been able to complete the screenshot scan on our new target here. And then I'm actively working on the metadata scan. So just wanted to show where it was at this point. It's been running for probably about 30 minutes or an hour or so. I'm not quite sure. And if I open this up, you can see. So we've gone through the beginning of the metadata scan. It starts with running Katana, which, like I said, is going to attempt to do a basic crawl against it. Now, I'm probably going to dial this back a little bit because it's a little bit too intensive of a crawl at this point. Like, we probably don't need 2 of the depth and everything. But this takes a lot of time to go through. So in all this time we've gone through, we're at 49 of 72 of these. So I tried to make the output fairly clear so that you can see and go in and see what's going on. But it's going to finish this. It's going to go through and do the nuclei scan. It's going to gather all the SSL data and that type of stuff. And then it'll come back and hit everything again with FUF one more time, FFUF, and see if it can find any endpoints there. So we're making good progress here. In the meantime, I wanted to go ahead and let's get it brought up over here. Let me get my GitHub up again. And I just want to talk about, in the beginning of the video, I said that there's a way to provide me feedback, and I was going to talk about it. I thought this might be a good time while that scan is running. So I'm going to open this up. Obviously, I think everybody here knows by now, the Discord has been deleted for a while. I am really strongly considering doing another one in conjunction with this release. It's going to be a lot more controlled because, for anybody that doesn't know, the reason I had to delete it was because we had some individuals that were like spraying malware in there and all that. And I don't have time to deal with that. Sorry, I don't. So if people are going to do that kind of crazy stuff, then I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm going to delete the Discord. So, but yeah, again, I'd like to do it. I want to create an area for people to come in and talk about it. Definitely not to ping me at all hours of the day because they need troubleshooting help and then send me a screenshot of something that I can't even see anything, which is, by the way, it's just like taking a picture of your check engine light and sending it to a mechanic and asking them what's wrong. Like, it's impossible. You got to tell me a lot of information. You got to give me logs, but I can help you anyway. But anyway, I digress. Sorry. If you want to give me feedback for the tool right now, the best way to do that is through the discussions section on here. Obviously, there's no issues section on the repo because it's not a tool yet. It's pre-alpha. I'm still working on it, so there's no issues in here. But if you want to talk about it, I'm going to try out these discussions. So you can go on there and create any new discussions. I'll respond to the ones I feel like I should respond to, and other ones I probably won't. That's up to you. Use this however you want, but I want to start gathering data, whatever it is, right? So if you just want to give me feedback, this is what I'd like to see, anything. I'm not going to promise I'm going to do it, right? But I'm going to gather all that data up, and I'll use that data to, fix any bugs that are out there and keep working towards the actual beta release of the tool at DEF CON this year. So, and we actually, I was kind of shocked by this, but I think we already had one. How do we get rid of the ones that are, I'm just starting to do this. I don't want it to be as open. I want to see all of them. Is there no way to just see the ones that are closed? There you go. There's got to be an easier way to do that, I'm sure, but that's fine. So we did have one person that actually put a very simple question in here that I did take the time to go and respond. So they really asked two questions, I think, but kind of asking about the setup, specifically mentioned VPS right there, and et cetera, kind of attempting to make some adjustments there, which is not something I'm going to support. But so yeah, so we've already kind of got one in here just to kind of answer this one as well, right? This repo contains Docker containers and a Docker manifest. That's what I'm maintaining. You can use it however you want. I don't feel the need to, this video, right? I've showed you how to run the Docker container on a Windows machine. These are going to run just like any other Docker container. There's no reason for me to come in and double up the Docker documentation on here. Use them however you want. It's a Docker container, right? They work however you want them to work. And then as far as this here, right, if you want to make any changes to the code, you're more than welcome to fork it. I love that. Please fork it, go use it however you want. It is, the tool is listed. Go all the way down here at the bottom, is listed under a GNU, GPL, whatever that thing, right? If you're going to use this code, if you fork it over, you need to keep everything open source. You can't go take this code and go sell it, right? Anything that you go and do with this code, you need to keep it under open source, and you need to go and share it back with the community. Other than that, I do not care what you do, but that's the license that it's listed under right now. So anyway, with all that being said, if you want to change the use case, you want to fork it over and adapt the code to beat your use case and everything, more power to you. That's not something I'm going to support in any way, shape, or form. I am building the tool that I want to build. I have a very clear vision of what that tool is. It's going to solve a specific problem that I want to solve. If you want to adapt this tool to work in either way, if you want to solve other use cases, if you want to do that, please, that is phenomenal. More power to you. That is not my goal. I am not here to adapt this tool to make it work for your use case. I'm here to build the tool that I want to build. I want to be very clear about that. Cool. Awesome. Let's see if we can come back and get here. It's probably going to take a little while. Yeah, we're only on 50 here too. All right, I will hit pause again. I'm gonna let all of this finish. I just was going back and watching some of the original videos. I remembered that I wanted to make sure and get that discussions piece in there. Again, if you want to just start giving me feedback through that discussion section, I think that'd be fantastic. Preferably not just random LinkedIn DMs or just all the other Discords, right? All the millions of different ways that I get hundreds of messages a day from different people. And look, if I could help all of you, I swear I would. I would love to be able to do it. And I'm trying to find ways to do that, right? By releasing YouTube videos and tools and everything that help a lot of people. But I can't tell y'all the amount of requests I get today a day from everything from, I'm looking for a mentor. Will you help me with this? Will you take a look at this? It's the volume is shocking. Not that I'm mine, it's so nice. Like, again, I wish I could help. I just can't. I can't be in that many places at once. So I'm trying my best. But the discussions is the best place if you want to give feedback for the tool here. Discussions are the best place to do that. So anyway, I'll let this run. I will jump back in here. It's probably going to take like 2-3 hours. It'll probably be, later that I'll come back and wrap this up. And then hopefully I can just do some quick editing and release this weekend and y'all can start using it. All right, cool. I'll be back soon. All right, looks like the scan has completed. So we've got our screenshots here, first of all, and we're seeing some of the same similar ones there. We can come down and look at the different ones, right? Typically what I'm gonna do is just get a baseline, get an idea of what these screenshots are, look for any that look specifically interesting. Admin obviously is something that I wanna look at. Yeah. So there's definitely some stuff in here that I would wanna poke at, stuff that could have value for us in our testing. Let's go take a look at the metadata. And immediately I'm seeing several that have an issue with a mismatched SSL certificate, depreciated SSL certificate. This looks like it's associated with 1Password, probably. So that could be a good target. I can go into a whole rabbit hole here with this, see what kind of fuzzing we have. This is similar to the other one we were seeing. So we have some matching subdomains here. I wonder how tied into this is obviously the infrastructure. I wonder how they interact. A lot of good stuff to be learned here, but yeah. So we got our data. We've got our ROI report over here as well. So it's gone to prioritize them just like the other one. This was one of the top ones on the other domain as well. So the combination of these two together is going to be probably one of my top targets, although a lot of that's coming from the crawl results. And I don't know if that's just JavaScript-based crawling that is a false positive. That does happen sometimes. But yeah, overall, we've got some great stuff. This samples one looks interesting too. There's a UI bug that I need to fix. Whoops, there's a functionality bug I need to fix. Yeah, again, look, this is a new tool, as I keep saying, but it's coming along, and it's coming along quick. I'm going to keep using it. So that's basically it. I'll tell you what, we go ahead and get everything flipped out. Tank, you want to help me close this out here? Come here. You do that, then we go get a treat, okay? Then we go get a treat. Does that sound good? Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, all right. Thank you all so much, especially if you sat through all this. Hopefully it helps. I'm building the tool that I want to use. I'm building the tool that, I've had this image in my head for years, and I think finally my technical ability is getting to the point where I can build what's in my head, and I'm really excited to see it come to life. I know. I'm really excited to see it come to life. Tank and I are going to go back and get to work. I hope it helps. Please give me feedback in the discussions if you're comfortable. I will continue to work on this and provide it to the community. Best of luck, everybody. Cheers.